All right.
Let's take a look at these here. Unfreeze. Okay. Okay. So we talked about what minus. We have minus. What that means? Those two cancel and it becomes a plus. How could I rewrite 7 plus negative?
7 negative.
What's a positive times a negative? Negative. So I can rewrite this as 7 minus 3. And that's a little bit easier way to look at it. It's like, whichever way makes more sense. You can look at it this way or that way. I prefer this way. But either way, 7 minus 3 equals 4. Kick ass. Yes. 1 down. So what about number 5? This is actually an example of why it's sometimes better to write this. The way to look at this, another way to write this is -1 plus positive times negative. So -1 minus 12. But can you guys see why it might be easier? -1 plus -12. -13. Because you're adding negative to negative, it should be even more negative. So either way you look at it, it should come out to be -13. So my way would say they're both negative. So you add them. It's supposed to be arrows. You add them because 13, you put the sign back on, that's -13. Is that good? Okay. What about number 9? Yeah, this is another way to write this is 1200 minus 500. Now which one of those numbers is bigger? So you know the answer is going to come out positive because the bigger number is positive. 1200 minus 500 is 700. I like it. So far so good?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. What about number 12? 11. So they are different signs, right? 13 is positive, 26 is negative. So you do 26 minus 13. That's the rule, right? We talked about why the rule works. But now you can take a step back and make it a rule. I see 2 different signs getting put together. I subtract. Somebody's like, just get the point, Jeff. 26 minus 13 is 13. Well, what's the answer? Good. -13. I like it. A little too much flexibility. I don't know what to do. Alright, and then finally, so is that one alright? 2 different signs and subtract them. Put the bigger one minus the smaller one because it's the only way you can do it. The other way, I don't have anything to borrow from. I can't do that. And then you get -13 because the bigger one's negative. 17 is just like the thing on the quiz. Just going to plug in the values. What do you get? X plus Y. In place of X, I put 3 because X is 3. In place of Y, I put -8. Good, because it'll be 8 minus 3 is 5, because they're different signs. But the bigger one's negative, so it's -5. Kick ass. I like it. Yes, sir. What's up, man?
I don't know.
Okay. So all of them. So in general, don't let me go too far. Ask me right away when you have a question. Don't let me get too far
I
ahead.
don't want to be like
No, don't worry about it.
stupid.
You can ask, anybody can ask any question they want. And real quick, I want to say this. We all have very different abilities. We all have very different backgrounds. Some of us just recently took some math, some of us haven't taken math in years. So I don't want to hear anybody saying anything about anybody asking questions. If they're asking too many questions, that's my fault. You talk to me. You tell me I made a mistake, right? That's not their fault. You don't say a word to them. That's part of the whole thing. I don't tolerate disrespect for anybody. But it's up to me to tell somebody if they need to see me after class. Right? That's my fault if I don't.
But I have autism.
I know. So that's what I was telling you about my office hours.
I know.
I can help you out.
I know.
But in class, you
But
ask me right away.
I don't want to
It's okay.
distract the people because I love people. We do. So I just.
So the general idea, you ready? The general idea, when you're combining numbers with signs of positives or negatives, what are the 2 rules that will get you through that? Right. One rule is when they have the same sign, like if it was -8 minus 11. When they have the same sign,
minus 7.
you add them. So when they have the same sign, you add them.
That'd be 9.
19, I love it. But put the sign back on. -19.
Not plus.
Nope. And the reason why is, if I'm down 8, and I go down 11 more, I'm down 19. It's negative still, right? Because I went down even more. That's the idea. So if they're the same sign, you add them, and then you put the sign back on. So add and put sign back on. Yes, sir.
Yeah, question back on number 17, where evaluate x and y, x equals 3, y equals 8. How did you get a -8 on that? To me, I thought it was 3 plus 8 equals 11.
Y equals.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay, well,
So earlier it was too tiny, probably. So don't worry. That's my bad.
negative, yeah.
So real quick, Randy, to finish this out. One rule: if they're the same sign, you add them, and you put the sign back on. If they're different signs, like that problem we did, 13 plus -26.
13 plus -6 is
13 plus -26. So what sign is that?
39.
Careful. What's the sign here? Is it positive or negative for 13? Positive. -26 is obviously negative. So if they have different signs, you subtract them.
So it's a plus minus equals minus.
Yes, you subtract. So you do 26 minus 13. What's 26 minus 13?
13.
13. But which one's bigger?
26.
So the answer would be -13. So when they're different signs, you subtract them, and you put the sign of the bigger one back on. Because there's more of that one. Right? So there's only 13, but there's -26. So when you combine them, the answer will still be negative. There's too much negative for the little 13 to kill it all the way. So one way to teach math sometimes is very violent. Everything's killing each other. Alright. If you still have trouble, just come see me in my office hours, like I said. Okay. Those 2 rules will get you through all these kind of things. Yes, ma'am?
So I had a question here, it applies to 17 also. So when you look at the one that is bigger, it's without any signs attached to it, just pretend like they're both positive.
I like it.
Is that what you mean?
I like it. So between 13 and 26, which one's bigger?
13.
26. Between 13 and 26.
Oh, 26, yes.
Yeah, and that happens to be negative, so the answer will be negative.
Okay, so don't
You just say to yourself, is the positive one more positive than the negative one is negative? Whatever makes more sense. Okay. I like it. I like it. Okay? Yes, sir.
What happens like a plus and a plus sign?
See, that's the place you want to be. So if I had like 8 plus 12,
20.
20. Officially, why does the rule still work? 8 is positive, 12 is positive. When they're the same sign, you add them.
Because it'd be positive.
Yeah. So 8 plus 12 is positive 20. But what's -8 minus 12?
-20.
-20. 8 and 12 makes 20. They're both negative. Put the negative sign back on. So when they're the same sign, you add them. And then you put the sign back on. So -8 and -12, they have the same sign, right? They're both negative. Ready? The 8's negative and the 12's negative. Are you with me? They both have the same sign. So when you see they have the same sign, you add them.
Because they have the same minus, don't they?
Yep, they're both negative. I love it. So that's when you add them and then put the negative sign back on.
That's cool.
I like it. So here now, you guys do these real quick. Just a few out of here.
Wait. 23? Is that 23?
This is page 23, yeah. Sorry. Page 23. 5, 6, 10, and let's do 13. Let's go. That's right. It's frozen up there. All right. Just want to make sure that everybody can see it.
And so while we're on the bottom number, it says 3, is that a 15 or a 16?
15 minus 5.
You put it back on. The unfreeze. Unfreeze.
So be careful. It doesn't say 8 minus 8. There's no MC values. It's just a yeah. It's just a parentheses, not an MC value. 8 minus 8 would be 0. This says 8 minus negative 8. So when I see minus and negative, those two negatives cancel. So if I saw like 7 minus negative 4, I can make that 7. Those two become a plus 4. Exactly. So here, those two become a plus. Exactly. When you see minus and negative, they cancel. They become a positive.
Negative 8 and negative. So it'll be negative 8 minus negative 2. More negatives than you think.
5. See? I think it's 6. Ooh, it's like 50.
Would you get 16 for number 5? Number 5. 16 or 0? 0? 8 plus 8. Or 1.
Yeah, it's either 6 or
I don't know. I'm gonna put both.
But why don't you wake up and found you guys? I can give a shit how much you are you guys. But oh, you wake up. All right, guys. Let's take a look. A lot of people tell that number 5 is 0.
16.
I like it.
Haha, 16 wins.
What would it have to say?
Because he just did it.
You'd have to say minus 8 minus 8.
Guys,
Apple board.
guys, what would it have to say to be 0?
8 minus 8.
8 minus 8. So 8 minus negative 8 cannot be 0. There's no way in hell because 8 minus 8 is 0. So 8 minus negative 8 cannot be. So we know minus and negative becomes positive. So I can rewrite this as 8 plus 8, which is 16. Stick gas.
So basically, all that stuff in between the two 8s, just pretend it ain't there, put a plus on it. In this situation.
Yeah.
That's why I
But
did
more
it.
importantly, realize why that is. The two negatives cancel each other out.
Right.
The opposite of the opposite. So what about number 6? Oh,
18 minus 14 equals 14 minus 14?
I actually follow that. So you mean 28 minus 14 is
Yeah,
14?
yeah.
The actual answer is
Minus 14.
big guess. Keep the same language. So over here, let me do this over here. 14 minus 28. They're different signs. So then what you actually do then
High
is...
five. High five. High five. High five.
Alright. That was good though. I liked it because I followed exactly what you meant. 28 minus 14 because they're different signs, which means I have to subtract. 20 minus 14 is 14, but the bigger one is negative, so the answer is negative 14. Cool. What about number 10? 10.
13.
Yeah, because minus and negative again becomes plus. 9 plus 4? 13. Yes. How we doing? Alright, number 13.
26.
How did you do it?
That's 15 minus.
Like it. 'Cause when you only have subtraction or addition, you do it
Left to right.
as it goes. I like it. So 15 minus 5 is 10. 10 minus 4 is 6.
That's a good
Now you could do 15 minus 9 and you're being creative and that's cool. But if you're not comfortable enough to know what you're allowed to do, you follow the rules exactly. If it's all multiplication division or if it's all addition subtraction, you do it as it goes. Cool. Somebody asked me to look at number 16. What's the first thing you could do on number 16?
21 plus 15.
You got these two negatives
21 plus 15.
become a plus. And what's plus negative?
Negative.
Minus. Alright, so I just kind of cleaned it up a little bit. There's too many freaking signs in there, so let me consolidate. 21 plus 15?
36.
36.
Minus, that's
36 minus
32.
8?
24.
No, that's 28.
26.
28. Right? Well, I guess. Okay. So how's that? Is that decent?
It's awesome.
Okay, good. I like that word. Cool. So just remember those two rules, and they got all kinds of silly. You got the money, you got the rocket coming down and burrowing into the ground, you got whatever. I even had people in a hole and they're climbing up a ladder. They used to do that, and it drove me crazy. You got all these physical situations as to how these work, but those two rules summarize all that into a quick application. You see 7 minus 9, you say the different signs. 9 minus 7 is 2, the big one's negative, it's negative 2, bam. You don't have to think holes or money unless you want to, unless it helps.
Can we do number 9?
9, let's see. Alright, let's do number 9.
15.
So 9 says 13 minus negative 13 plus 17.
So it'll be 15 plus 15.
I like it. The first thing I can do, 13 plus 13,
26.
with 26, 43, I like it. Yes, sir. So all we did there, here's the problem. It's number 9. What's the minus and negative?
minus,
Careful.
plus,
Plus, right? 13 minus negative 13 is 13 plus 13.
17,
And then you got plus 17. I'll pretend that's what you meant. That was 13 plus 9. Now you just kind of add it as it goes. So the first thing I did was I rewrote those two signs as one. Minus and negative becomes a plus. Right? So the problem started off as...
how you get 26?
It was 13 minus negative 13 plus 17. Minus and negative is plus.
Plus,
So make that a mantra. Minus and negative is plus. Minus and negative is plus. And I've explained why. So now you can say 13 plus 13. 13 plus 13 is?
26.
That's where the 26 comes from. And then you just add 17 on top of that. 42. So the main thing there was rewriting the minus and negative as a plus. And then the rest of it just goes. Okay. Last little thing here, and then we'll do, what I'm planning on doing is, 2-6 is the first place where we have solvent equations. But what I really want to do, and what I did last couple semesters, is I didn't do 2-6. I put it with the next section, because the next section is more about solvent equations. It just makes more sense to me. So we're actually going to do a little bit out of 2-4 review, and then we're going to lecture on 2-5, and then we're going to head out. And normally I'd give a practice test, but I was in like 4 meetings today, so I completely forgot to print out the practice. So what I'll do is, on Thursday, I'll give out the practice test. I'll have the answer key. I'll let you guys kind of work on the practice test in class, and then I'll hand out the practice key, so, the answer key, so you can see if you did okay. Does that make sense? All right. It's Thursday. What's happening a week from today? The test. I like it. So Thursday is going to be review day. We're not going to do any new stuff. It's going to be all review of the stuff we've already done. Yeah.
The homework for section 2, 1 through 6 is due this coming 6. Correct.
So the homework through section 2-4 is due this Thursday. Yes, because we finished that last time. But it's not late until after next Tuesday, so you always have until the day of the test if you need it.
So when's the rest of it?
Everything that's going to be on the test, that homework is due on the day of the test at the latest.
So the test is the end of 2.4.
Well, tonight we're going to do 2-5. So it's Thursday through 2-4, then next Tuesday through 2-5. Pretty much. Yeah. Well, we'll talk about it next time with a practice test. Guys. So my practice test, I really just give it out so you can see what concepts are going to be in the test. And just show you what my tests kind of look like. Be really careful because I don't just change the numbers, right? There's not a lot of leeway I have here with the kind of problems I could give you, but if you study the practice test too much, you'll be ready for those problems, not problems like that. Does that make sense? So use the test, the practice as a guide. You do it. If you got any wrong, go to those sections and review it. Don't do those problems like 8 times, because then you'll know that problem. You won't know how to do other problems like it. I'm not going to give you that problem.
And how many questions are there?
Normally 20 to 30, somewhere in there. And when I say that, I mean, I hate it when a teacher tells me there's 3 problems on the test. I'm like, all right. And then they're all A through J. That's not a big problem. So when I say between 20 to 30, I mean counting A, B, C, D's. You with me?
So real quick, drop dead date for our homework.
It's
in
Tuesday.
Section 2 is next Tuesday.
Up through section 2.5, because we're going to do 2.6 for the next test. So up through section 2.5 is due Tuesday. But again, if you turn it in after Tuesday, it's late. That doesn't mean a 0, it just means less than full credit. So you can still do homework after that. It just won't help you get ready for the test, because you've already taken the test. See? A week from today. So next Tuesday, the 18th. Alright, so let's do this. This is stuff from section 2.4. They really make their dots big on the y.
Negative 21.
Yeah, so the idea with multiplying and dividing, we talked about this already, is what happens with two negatives?
Plus.
So cancel. So this is page 26. So here, does anything kill that negative that's on the 3? There's no other negative to kill it, so it's still alive at the end. So 3 times 7 is 21, but the negative is still there. So every pair of negatives will cancel. So if I had 4 negatives in a problem, they would pair up and cancel, and the answer would be positive. But if I had 5 negatives, I gotta be careful so I don't flip myself off. They'll pair up, there'll still be that one left over. What about part B?
Positive 10.
Good. So the 2 negatives cancel. Opposite of the opposite, they kill each other. 5 times 2 is 10. So this first, we all know that 3 times 7 is 21, because 7 threes would make 21. Well, what's 7 negative threes? That would make negative 21. That's all we're doing here. On the next one, those 2 negatives, when I'm multiplying, will cancel. So when I'm multiplying and dividing, any pair of negatives will cancel.
Be 10.
Be positive 10, exactly, because the 2 negatives cancel. So in part C, is there another negative to kill the negative that's there? No. So 5 times 10 is 50, but that negative is still there. I like it.
Minus.
Let's go down a little bit. Look at part E. Can anybody tell me the answer, will it be positive or negative?
Positive.
Why?
Because there's 4 negatives.
Because there's 4 negatives. They're going to pair up, kill each other, and there's not going to be anybody left. Right? I watch way too many zombies. So, the 2 negatives cancel, the 2 other negatives cancel, there's no negatives left. So the answer is going to be positive. So 3 times 4 is 12. 12 times 5 is 60. And of course, 60 times 1 is still 60. Now, if you want to do that without thinking ahead, you can actually attack this more systematically. Let me rewrite it real quick in my own style of numbers.
Do 12.
So what's negative 3 times negative 4? Positive 12, because the 2 negatives cancel. So this is positive 12. What's negative 5 times negative 1? 5. Positive 5. And what's 12 times 5? 60. So you do not have to know ahead of time the answer will be positive. As you work it out, the negatives will kill each other until they're all gone. Yeah.
So wait, 12 times 5 is 50. Times 10 is 600.
But where did the 10 come from?
That's 1.
But this is only 1. This is just 1, it's not 10.
Not?
It's just 1. So what's negative 3 times negative 4?
Here. 12.
12. What's negative 5 times negative 1?
5.
5. Is there
50.
anything else up here?
No.
So this actually represents the whole problem. I've just consolidated parts of it. And then I consolidated one more time. 12 times 5 is 60. So I've consolidated that 4 numbers to 1. What about when I start throwing some exponents in there?
It will be minus.
Just because.
3 times minus.
I want you to, whoa, there.
Minus 2.
Look at part F actually first.
Oh,
Look at part F. What does part F really mean if you wrote it out?
negative 2 multiplying by negative 2.
I love it, exactly. You got 4 negative 2's. So it would be negative 2, negative 2. Are you guys kind of with me?
Yeah.
Now you could say to yourself, I got 4 negative numbers, so the answer is going to be positive, and then 4 2's makes
8.
2 times 2 times 2 times 2, 16. So it's positive 16. I can kind of figure out what the sign's going to be, and then figure out what the number's going to be. You can do it that way, or you can just crank through it. Negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. 4 times negative 2 is
4. 8.
negative 8.
Negative
Negative 8 times negative 2 is
16.
so I get to 16 eventually, right? Now, what's the slight difference between this and this?
This one is negative.
What is the 3 of?
91. 81.
Officially, no.
Negative 3 by itself.
There's a negative in front of 3 3's.
Minus.
I'm not counting that negative. See, the difference, look at part And the answer actually comes out the same either way you look at it, but this is important. Look at part F. And actually, let me make a big deal out of that. So here's part F. That meant 4 negative 2's. Right? Because that 4 is on top of the negative 2. Now what the hell is the difference there? Some students would say there's no difference. And that's too bad.
Yeah.
There's a big time difference.
The second one would be -9, wouldn't it?
There's 4 2's
Or
It would mean only
with the
one.
negative sign in front. There's not 4 negative 2's. There are 4 2's with the negative sign in front. The exponents are really weak. They can only go right on what they're sitting off of.
so it'd be 8.
So this would, if I rewrote this, it would be negative 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So this one was positive 16 because the 4 negatives cancel. This one would be
Minus 16.
negative 16. Just trying to be equal 16. Yes, sir.
Teacher, but like when in this case, it's mean multiplying, like -2, right?
Well, be careful. Do you multiply first, or do you raise to a power first?
The same thing, it's,
What order of
it's
operations?
-2,
Where's negative 2?
the second one.
No. Nope.
There's only
Do you
one.
multiply first, or do you raise to a power first? Which one?
Raise power.
Exponents first. So this is negative, whatever the hell this is. So nowhere in here does it say negative 2. It says the opposite of this thing. So over there, I'm just saying the opposite of, let me figure out what that thing is. What's 2 to the 4th power? 16. So the answer is negative 16. Up there are 4 negative 2's. There's a negative 2, negative 2.
So if there is no
cancel.
exponents, like we take the operation and do it by like, what is it? Because like if we said negative, then 2 is 4, like.
Then that means you got 4 of those things.
Mhm.
So that one says I have 4 negative 2's. This one says I have 4 2's with the negative sitting out front.
Multiplying by.
That's the difference. That's what parentheses does for you. It collects stuff together. So it catches the negative and the 2 so the 4 can go to both. Here, that negative is escaped. The 4th power can't get to it. Alright. I'm going to say any more, I'm going to say too much. Beat the dead horse. Yeah.
So that's 2. So 4 minus 2 is 2. So
No, there's no 4 minus 2 anywhere. Be careful. They both say to a 4th power. Neither one of them says 4 minus 2. They both say 2 to a 4th power.
so
Like
that's,
that 4 is a power. It's up there.
so that's 2, 4, 6, 8.
But
So
I'm not adding them. What do powers mean? What operation are powers based on?
The number.
Multiplication. So it's repeated multiplication. So it's sort of like, do these real quick. H, get over there. H and I. Don't say anything. H and I.
-25. Up.
Yes, one of them is that. Don't tell me which. Do you have the answer? No? Oh, you want to see that?
It's too hard.
So I just want you to do these two here. So which one of those is going to be negative 25? I. So obviously H must be, because how many negatives are there here? 1 in front of 2 5s. There's 2 negative 5s, so the negatives can kill each other, right? Here, there's only 1 negative sitting there, thank God. Nobody else there to kill them. So this would be positive 25. This would be
Like -5. By minus.
How about if you do 5 to the negative 2?
Don't worry, that's way ahead of us. We're not going to do negative powers yet.
Yeah.
That's
What about numbers? Just like that.
Yeah, that's
What about K and L?
See?
So division really acts the same way as multiplication does as far as how negatives kill each other. See?
That'd be 6.
Almost.
The 6 times 6, the 7 times 6 is 42.
That's right. But it's negative 7. Negative 7 times 6 would be negative 42. So the answer can't be 6. It's negative 6. See, is there any negative in this problem to kill this other negative here? So what you just said is perfect. The answer can't be 6. Because to check a division problem, you do multiplication. Negative 7 times 6 would not be positive 42. So I know the answer can't be positive 6. The answer has to be negative 6. Because then negative 6 times negative 7 would be positive 42. Those two negatives are canceled. So when you divide or multiply sign numbers, any paired negatives cancel. Will anybody kill that negative on the 7? Is there another negative to kill it?
But it has the
Division sign, I know. 42 divided by 7 is 6. 42 divided by negative 7
but
is negative 6.
but can it be like
So what you just said was actually perfect. She said just a minute ago. Watch this. So if you thought 42 divided by negative 7 was 6, how do you check yourself? You multiply. Is negative 7 times 6 equal to 42?
No.
No. Negative 7 times 6 would be negative 42. So you know the answer can't be 6. And the reason it's not 6 is because that negative would still be there. 42 divided by negative 7 is negative 6.
Probably can just do like that elevator type thing. So you're already at negative 7, you're just going to go down negative 7.
Well, it doesn't really work nicely with division. With the subtraction and addition, that would work. With division, it's
like you kept going down.
Different signs stay negative. And division and multiplying, negative signs stay negative, and same signs stay positive.
So it's the same rule as multiplication.
Mm-hmm.
It's only if you have a pair of negatives that they would actually cancel. So this problem only has one negative in it. The answer will still be negative.
Yeah.
Because there's no other negative to kill that. And there's a whole other way to look at it, the way you just said. You know the answer can't be 6.
Yeah.
Because the check doesn't work.
The rule for the multiplying and division for the different signs will be like different. Same signs will be positive, and different signs will be negative in all cases. And
Well, careful now, you're
multiplication,
mixing up the addition and subtraction.
multiplication and division. These two operations, these rules. We can
So if
say.
I had negative 42
Mhm.
divided by negative 7, what's that?
Positive 6
Positive 6, because the two negatives
will be
cancel.
positive. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, you're fine. Okay. And of course, don't ever make this mistake between M and N. Oh, I almost forgot. What about L?
Positive 8.
Good. The two negatives canceled. 16 divided by 2 is 8. Which one of these has a problem?
Second one.
Careful. Yeah, M has a problem. You can't divide by 0, but 0 can divide by anything. If I got nothing, and I got to divide it amongst these people, they each get nothing.
0.
but
Yes.
how? Because everything is 0.
Yeah, so it's 0. But I can't divide by 0. Right? We talked about that before. If you told me this was some answer, then you're claiming that you put 6 here. Then you're telling me that 0 times 6 equals negative 6, or that was negative 6. It can't work. 0 times nothing.
That'd be minus 12.
So it's undefined.
What's undefined mean?
So we talked about that before, but remember, why is 6 divided by 2 equal to 3? How do you check that? Because 2 times 3 is 6. You with me? That's why that works. So 6 divided by 0 would have to be a number such that 0 times that number is 6. That would have to be how it's defined. Is there a number defined to do that? Is there any number that when I multiply by 0 I get 6? No. So 6 divided by 0 is undefined. There is no number defined to do what that says. I can't multiply 0 by anything and get 6.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Okay. So, to tell you the truth, that last section we have to do is actually kind of a repeat section. Like order operations. It's the same order operations, of course. I don't care what level of math you're in. You're in calculus. You're in differential equations. You're in all this weird ass shit. Order operations is still there. Right? It still is there. So it never goes away. Don't think we're out of that section. So now they're just bringing in order operations, but they're doing it with adding in idea of sign numbers. So still, what would you do first in this problem here? Yeah. I like it. You could do actually both. Technically, you have to do in the parentheses first. Oh, this is page 27, sorry. What's 2 minus 5?
Minus 3.
But you could do 4 squared at the same time.
16.
Now what would you do next?
Negative 12.
You have to multiply before you add.
Negative 12 plus.
Negative 12 plus 16.
4.
Good, because the 16 is bigger. 16 minus 12 is 4. I like it. So we've already done order operations. So the nice thing with 2-5 is you should already be a little bit more familiar with order operations. It's just adding in the 2 minus 5 idea. You have to know your signs.
The 4 times.
Is that cool? Because this piece here is 4 times 4.
This one, this one, this one, this one.
That's why I got
Okay.
16.
I was thinking 2 minus 5.
Cool.
Just
Write
make
down,
it
write down.
not negative.
Well, we know that 5 minus 2 is 3. So 2 minus 5 must be the opposite. It must be negative 3. Does that make sense? So if I know two numbers, I don't know if I'm going to write this, because if I know 2 numbers subtract to be 6, if A minus B is 6, can anybody tell me what's B minus A?
Well,
Negative 6. If I turn it around, what's 10 minus 7? 3. What's 7 minus 10? Negative 3. So it works all the time. It works all the time. Because 10 minus 7, I got more positive. I'm going to end up positive. 7 minus 10, I owe more money than I got. I'm going to end up negative. Now, I did promise somebody one thing.
Thank you.
Right, so I'm not going to say much about section 2.5. This is order operations. You've already talked about that. But somebody asked me to go back to 2.1 for a second and talk a little bit about absolute values. An absolute value is the most single-minded function in mathematics. It says whatever the hell the number is inside, I'm going to make it positive. So if it's already positive, it stays positive. And does anybody know why it does that? What idea is absolute value built off of? Does anybody know? You know? Yeah?
Does it stay positive?
That's what it does, but why? So the idea absolute value is based off of is distance.
Because
So look up here real quick at number 3. This is page 15, sorry. I went back to section 2.1 real quick. How far away from 0 is negative 2?
2.
How many steps away? 2. So that's what the absolute value is. If I see absolute value of negative 2, that is what it means. It means how far from 0 is negative 2. And you wouldn't say, if I said how far are you away from me, you wouldn't say negative 2 feet. Where the hell are you? Are you kidding me somehow? Right? That's just weird. So absolute value is based on distance. That's why it always makes it positive. Or what would the absolute value of 0 be?
0.
Because it's 0 away from itself.
So it's based on the distance.
Based on the distance, and that's why absolute values always come out positive. Now, so what's number 9?
9.
I like it. The problem number gave me the answer. Absolute value negative 9 is 9. It's either how far away is negative 9 or just make it positive. The number 10 is a little evil.
It's,
You can always
negative
do it
6.
for yourself.
Negative 6.
Good. Cover the negative because it's not inside the absolute value. What's the absolute value? 6. 6. Careful. It doesn't change the sign. It makes it positive. So 6 is already positive. So that is 6. So that is negative 6. Now see the difference if I would have said this instead. That is different. The negative's inside. It's being affected. What would the absolute value of negative 6 be? 6. This, the absolute value of 6 is 6. Put a negative on it. That's the difference. So what about number 11?
20.
I love it. Just make it positive.
So when it's in the brackets, it's the number by itself. So what is the minus or negative symbol saying? Like how far is 5 from 0?
No, the negative symbol is the number I'm actually looking at. So negative 20. How far from 0 is negative 20?
No, I get that one. I'm talking about 12.
Oh, 12?
When
Okay.
yeah, when the brackets or when the negative is outside the brackets. That's what I'm not.
So here, let me do it on the side. What's the absolute value of 5? Oops, come down. There it is. What's the absolute value of 5? 5. I love it, right? It doesn't change the sign, it just makes it positive, so there it didn't do anything. So now what happens then if I just put a negative in front of it? I put a negative in front of that.
Can you say it like, I think what she's saying is in English
The
how,
subtraction symbol
why,
means the opposite of.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm not reading.
What you-
What does that mean to me when I see negative 5 in brackets or a negative and then 5 in brackets? I don't understand what.
So this
that
does mean the opposite of whatever this is. That's what that means. So watch. Earlier we talked about this kind of problem. Then what's 2 squared?
4.
4.
2 times 2.
I love it. 2 times 2, which is 4. That's beautiful. Now what if I do this then?
Negative.
So I just put a negative on the outside.
Positive 2.
I love it. So all I did was put a negative on the front. So I really want you to see this, and it's hard to do it up here. 2 squared is 4. So this means the opposite of 2 squared, which is negative 4. Because we already established that 2 squared is 4. So the absolute value of 5 is 5. So the opposite of the absolute value of 5 is negative 5. That negative is not being affected by the absolute value. Why not? Because it's not inside. It's outside. So you really can just cover the damn thing. So a problem that's kind of really evil would be this kind of problem here. What? If I had this kind of problem here. Negative 20. So what you do is this. Which negative is not affected? So cover it. What's this?
20.
Good. Absolute value of negative 20 is 20. And go, oh, I need a negative there.
So basically the brackets overrule the cancellation.
Oh, like these trying to cancel each other?
Yeah.
Alright, good. So that's an even better question. So on the order of operations, where the absolute values come in, same as parentheses. So you cannot multiply negative times negative before you've done the absolute value, because the absolute value is the same order of operation as parentheses. Very first answer. Does that make sense? So you can't bring the negative times negative make it positive 20 because you haven't done the absolute value yet. It's got precedence. Cool. Very good question. Okay. Yes?
No, she's first.
Yes.
The parentheses, the brackets, are they the same thing?
Be careful now. These symbols here, they're not the brackets. So we got, be really careful. I've got these symbols here. Those are brackets. These here, absolute values. And then you got these here, parentheses. So these are really the same thing. I just use them, if I've already used parentheses once, I use brackets next, just to make sure everybody knows what those require.
So is the absolute value symbol and the parentheses the same thing?
No, the absolute value symbols will collect stuff inside, but the absolute value symbols themselves mean make it positive. So if I had, watch this, if I had this, what would it be?
-3. Negative 3.
Negative 3, is that cool? If I had this, 3. Yeah, the inside is -3. What's the absolute value? 3. So they're the same as the order operations of parentheses, right? They're in the same spot. But the absolute values do something else than just collect things. They force them to become positive.
Is there a problem where the absolute value is in the middle of either side of something else going on?
Sure.
So kind of what order we
Of course there is.
So
Come on.
if I had, you said, could I do one? Yes. So if I had something like this,
Why not order those things better?
I like it.
So we have to do the absolute value first.
Yes. So you have to do inside here first. Be really careful.
So
This you can't say that absolute value 7 minus 10 is 7 plus 10. That doesn't make any sense. I apply the absolute value to the number that's inside it, and I don't know what number's inside it yet, because I haven't figured it out yet. So what is 7 minus 10? -3. I like it. I haven't done the absolute value yet, right?
Right.
And what's the absolute value of negative?
3. So it'd be 8 minus 3. Now, is that 8 minus 3 or 8? Well, it's the same. So.
Careful. You know what you do first. Do you subtract first or multiply first? Multiply. See, so absolute values just becomes a part of what I have to do. It's parentheses. Nothing else changes. Nothing else ever changes. So then I get 8 minus 6. 6. Yes.
It's like you get 8 zombies and then you minus 6 zombies because 2 zombies.
Why not?
Cause
Sure.
I don't know, I just play a lot of zombie games.
Alright. So don't forget, next time I'll have the practice test.
Resident Evil.
Oh, then it's like having 2 parentheses in the same problem. You can do them at the same time. Do you see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So